I'm the Model Offset and welcome to part 11 of how I do dioramas. So welcome back for episode 11 of the series, and we're going to crack straight on with our brickwork that we did in the last episode. Want to try and bring it alive a little bit and pick out that mortar in between the bricks, and for that we're going to use a product from Ultimate Modelling Products, just their wash. You're going to add two washes together, the concrete and the sand, and then we're going to apply it on to bring that brickwork alive. Don't worry too much about how you apply the wash, just put plenty of it on. You can always take it off. Now this product does work best on a smooth surface. Although the church has been glossed, the surface is still quite rough. What we're doing here is we're using a cotton bud to take off some of the excess of the wash to reduce the amount that's on there, and we'll carry on doing that throughout. Don't worry too much about the wash because you can reactivate it simply with a little bit of water, so you can always adjust exactly the effect you're getting. But by using the cotton buds we can take off a little bit and then go back at it again with one end of the cotton bud wet and the other dry, wetting the wash and just using it across the whole of the surface. So this is the effect so far. We're going to come back at that throughout the time because when it dries it does change. So we're going to move on now to our base. I have now prepared the base, as you can see in front of you. It's going to reflect some tiling. So I've drawn all the tiling out, and what we really need to do is to carve out very lightly the indentations between the tiles, and for that we're going to go back to our trusty carving tool. So with our carving tool we're going to score along the lines and bring out that extra detail within the floor. Now we're not going to go too deep, as I said before. Go over it once or twice, just make sure it's nice and clean. Now one thing you've noticed is that I'm picking away at the tiling. I wanted to make some surface detail damage. Two reasons for that is because I fancied the effect, make it a little bit interesting, but also when I drew out the lines I did actually make a mistake at the back of the altar. Not a big problem, we're going to cover that up anyway with our damage from the church, so no biggie. So now we're just going to concentrate on the steps and make sure we've done our edges as well as the top surface, and that'll be all ready then for the next stage. So there you go, that's with the altar on top. It's all carved out the way we want it. So, but that isn't the size of the base, we need to look at the whole base. This is going to fit into a frame, 40 by 40 centimeters, so we need to add a bit more. So for this I've used some balsa wood that has got a plastic coating. Now the aim was that I was going to use the plastic coating for the white tiles, but we'll come back to that later. So we need to glue on a first set of steps. For this I've cut out a couple more extra pieces of our Balsa-Foam. Now obviously I don't want to cover the whole space because, as I've said in previous episodes, Balsa-Foam is relatively expensive. So we've cut out a couple of strips for our steps, and if you place on top of that the church floor that I've already carved, you'll see the effect I'm looking for, just a couple of steps up towards the altar. So we're going to carve those steps out just as before with our carving tool. So we need to glue these in place. I'm going to use the same glue as I've used before, which is the Gorilla wood glue. I did try PVA, but if I'm honest, it didn't work very well. So back to the trusted one that I've used all the way through the build. So not going to bore you too much with too much of that, but obviously I think you would know how to glue two pieces of board together. So anyway, just lining up there, making sure that we've got exactly what we need. As my father once said, check twice, cut once. Place the top on there just to make sure it all looks good, and we're away. So as I said, we're going to fill in the back there with a different material. Now I'm going to use some cork sheet, very cheap product. You can pick it up in any hardware store. This is actually a very fine grade cork, is what I would use for making roadways, etc. But you're going to cut that down and fit it into place with a bit of the Gorilla Glue. So there you go, there's the finished product. That's how we're going to end up. Now we need to get some primer on that and move it along a little bit more. So for this, we're going to use the black primer from Ultimate Model Products. Just a good coating all over, and we're going to prime that surface ready for our tiling. So then I'm going to put a base coat of white down on our tiling, and then a little bit of a laborious task, but we're going to go back and we're going to paint in our other tiles with a dark sea grey. So as you can see, I've actually painted the steps already. Now I didn't use the life colour like I did in the church. I actually made my own mix from some model colour because I am running low on the life colour mix. So as you can see there, I've used three different types. I've used a greeny brown, an Iraqi sand and brown sand. Mix them together and it's a pretty much good match. So we're just going to carry on with the tiles. Like I said, it's a bit of a laborious task, but it does look good in the end. And voila, the finished floor and base of our diorama is now almost complete. This is a really good moment to call time on this particular episode. All detail coming alive without wash, looking great. Bit of window to fix, but we'll come to that at another time. but with the addition of the base, we now know we've got a couple more walls to make so it fits into that frame snugly. But I'm going to cover that with you in another episode. But for now, thank you so much for all your feedback. Thank you for watching the series. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon, that way you'll never miss out on any content that's up and coming. Until next week, take care.